I think we're going to start the evening discussions now. And first thing I'd like to do is reintroduce Steen Miner. We're very glad and happy to have him here. Lloyd is the Carl and Elizabeth Naumann Dean of the School of Medicine, professor in otolaryngology, and previously was the provost at Johns Hopkins and head of their Department of Otolaryngology. Earlier today, I was pointing out how neat it was that Lloyd was speaking, because he's been a terrific translational scientist in his own right, defining the superior canal dehiscence syndrome, and which is a cause of a very refractory form of vertigo, which is just misery to live with, and furthermore went on and really defined the operation as well to correct it so that these folks could actually have decent qualities of life. So without further ado, I think I'm going to ask Lloyd to come up to the podium.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and thank you all for being here this evening to celebrate this wonderful 10th anniversary of Spark. I really want to use the opportunity here at the podium to express on behalf of all of us here tonight our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Daria Moakley-Rosen and to Kevin Grimes for their passionate leadership of Spark. The success speaks for itself. Now with over 74 companies, over 74 projects that have been funded through Spark, most of them, 2/3 of them, leading to either companies' new repurposing of drugs, but in some way directly benefiting patients because of the experience at Spark. The other thing about Spark is it's really the model for interactions between industry leaders and academia, and through the Wednesday evening meetings, really convening the very best from biotech, from the venture capital biotech world, and our interested faculty, fellows, and students, and bringing them together in a very productive way. And of course, it's not just restricted to Stanford. Now dozens of other institutions, many of whom are represented here tonight with people in attendance, have, with Kevin's assistance and Daria's assistance, started Spark-like programs at their institutions around the world. And that's really one of the, I think, most amazing things about being in education, is that certainly we impact the world through the research we do, and we impact the world through the people we teach here, but through the work that the people we teach here and the people we teach elsewhere, the work that they do then multiplies exponentially. So already in 10 very brief years, there's been this enormous accomplishment from the Spark team. And I know that the next 10 years and beyond are going to be even more exciting. So if I could ask all of us to have a round of applause for the amazing work that Daria and Kevin have done to bring to Spark where it is today and the future. Just one closing remark on a personal note, and Kevin mentioned it this afternoon, but so Kevin and I have known each other for 41 years. Which means, of course, we were in preschool together, but it actually means that we were in the same dorm as freshmen at Brown. And Kevin was then and is today an incredibly dedicated person, passionate about his friendships and about those that the people that he knows and benefits. That was true when we were college freshmen, and it's still true today. So, Kevin, it's a pleasure for our paths to have crossed again many years later here at Stanford. And thank you for being a friend and a wonderful colleague.
Well, my wife Kelly is here, and she's going to tell you that brevity is not one of my flaws. There are some folks that I would like to thank again that we've mentioned previously, but they all were not here. And I think it's really important that we do that because this program would not exist were it not for the efforts and support of so many different folks. So I want to thank Dean Miner again, thank Lloyd. He's been a phenomenal supporter, tireless supporter of the program, and really has provided us with the financial means that we needed to survive, and we're very appreciative of that. And want to thank his predecessor, Dean Pizzo, who had allowed us to begin this endeavor, and also had some confidence that we might make something happen. I want to thank Marcia Cohen, our Senior Associate Dean of Finance. Marcia has been instrumental in everything that we've done, helping us develop our infrastructure, helping us think about our strategy, and helping us develop our financial infrastructure so that we could exist as a program. And we're very appreciative. Want to thank Juan Hyen, who don't think is here anymore, but he was our very first advisor and was really, really important in talking to us and helping us figure out what path this program should take. Want to thank the Child Health Research Institute and the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital. They have been extremely generous in providing financial and moral support to Spark, and in particular want to thank the CEO of Lucille Packard Children's Hospital, Chris Dawes, the former chair of pediatrics, Hugh Abradovich, and Bonnie Whalen, who was the administrator of the CHRI. Want to thank Harry Greenberg, Senior Associate Dean of Research, and for his support through the Spectrum program. Rob Jackler, who is our chair of otolaryngology, who has also been a big supporter and sent some of his departmental funds our way to help us develop projects. Want to thank Michelle Berry, our Senior Associate Dean of Global Health, and we partnered with her, putting forth the C-IDEA grant to help get funding to develop therapeutics and diagnostics for global health problems. And there are a number of foundations and generous donors we need to thank. The Weston Havens Foundation has provided support for Spark projects over the past 3 years. The Leo Foundation, we just found out, is providing us with a grant to develop dermatologic projects, and we're very appreciative and want to thank our advisor, Peter Axel Vladsson, who helped us negotiate that process. We want to thank Jay Sullivan and the Sullivan family for their support of Spark through the Steve Sullivan Memorial Fund. Steve was a friend of Daria and myself. He was really important in the formation of Daria's first company, Kai Pharmaceuticals. He was a year ahead of me in my residency training, and we did have quite a bit of fun together, and he, in fact, was my chief resident as well. So we miss Steve, and we very much appreciate the support. We also want to thank the Benefram family for their support. You all heard Paul Boyke present his project earlier today, and that primary sclerosing cholangitis project is being funded by the Benefram family, so we're very appreciative. We want to thank the Sparkies, the faculty, the postdoctoral fellows, and the students for entrusting their babies to us, allowing us to work with them to see if we could take their discoveries and move them forward and get them into patients. And we want to thank, again, our colleagues in the Department of Chemical and Systems Biology, who've provided a home for the program, who provided all sorts of support, and who are just phenomenal colleagues. And we very much appreciate that. I want to thank our staff members, and I'm not going to go through them by name again in the interest of time, but you know who you are, and you guys have been phenomenal in making things happen. And now I want to talk about our Spark advisors in general briefly. So this day is really about you guys. And by guys, I mean guys and gals. Men and women, however you want to do it. So I think particularly with what's been going on in the news lately, this is an era when it might be easy to be infected with cynicism. But our Spark advisors are a really glowing example of what's best in people, what's best in humanity. So they come every week, sometimes more often, giving hours to our teams. They freely share their time, their knowledge, their expertise, their know-how with our faculty and postdocs and students. And really, they expect nothing in return. When you take this very experienced, knowledgeable, accomplished group of folks with the industry and drug development side of things, and you combine it with the outstanding research that's coming out of the labs that our faculty and students and postdocs are producing. It's really the advisors provide that secret sauce that makes Spark a success. For those of you who are into the financial side of things, from a financial point of view, they incredibly leverage the funds that we are provided by the university, by the medical school, by our donors, by the NIH. We couldn't begin to quantify how much this advice would cost if we were paying for it. And it's well beyond our ability to pay. I want to mention that the chief motivation of our advisors is altruism. Now, we do provide a dinner every Wednesday evening. And with all deference to the caterers on campus, probably not the reason they come. They really spend their efforts to bring new therapies to patients in need. I think along the way we do have a lot of fun. We get to hear about some phenomenal scientific discoveries and research, and we get to be a part of trying to move that forward and brainstorm and bring it to patients. And that truly is a lot of fun. But it's pure altruism. You know, at the end of the day, I'd like to think we're all put here to make the world a better place in some small way. And this happens when people use their gifts not for themselves, but for the common good. And it's always uplifting to Daria and myself, and I think a lot of the folks involved in Spark, when we really see how generous and giving our advisors are. And they are really why we succeed, and I just want to say thank you very much. And Steve, I'm going to introduce Steve Scow, who has been one of our advisors from the very beginning, who's going to introduce our next speaker. Steve has almost 40 years of experience in the biopharmaceutical industry. And his career has spanned R&D and a number of indications, from psychotropic medications to anti-infectives to cardiovascular to metabolic and cancer and immunologic disease. He retired 2 years ago as the Vice President of Research and Development of Telec, which was a local oncology drug company here in Palo Alto. And since that time, Steve has really given us, before that, he gave us an incredible amount of time and effort. And since that, it's been amazing how much effort he's given to our projects, to help us strategically. He's actually gone on the road and talked to people to help us raise funds. Just incredible service that he's provided. Steve has been quite accomplished. He has a number of patents, a number of papers, and we've made him appointed him as a consulting professor in the Department of Chemical and Systems Biology because he's been so active in teaching our students and in teaching our Sparkies. In many ways, I look upon Steve as the epitome of a Spark advisor. There are many other ones out there as well, and you know who you are. You know, Carol and Bob and David and so forth, but I can't go through the list of 100 names. He's been a steadfast supporter of the program over the years, always stepping up to support projects, whether they're faculty or students or trainees, and we can't thank him enough, so I'll ask Steve to come up to the podium.
The preceding program is copyrighted by the Board of Trustees of the Leland Stanford Junior University. Please visit us at med.stanford.edu.